Rodrigo Duterte expected to announce tonight the fate of community quarantines across the country.
A special advisor to the National Task Force on COVID-19 says that the health department must show real-time data reporting of COVID-19 cases in the country.
Complaints against online sellers ballooned during the community quarantine period.
High-tech or not, what matters is compliance with the minimum health standards on dine-in services in restaurants according to the trade industry.
New Zealand now 24 days without any new coronavirus cases. On the other hand, Beijing reports biggest coronavirus outbreak it has seen in 2 months.
Hong Kong Disneyland ready to reopen on June 18, but with limited visitor capacity.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Monday, June 15, 2020. Join us in the next 45 minutes as we deliver today's top stories around the globe. I am Harleen Delgado.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media account and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
First in the news, President Rodrigo Duterte is expected to announce tonight his decisions on the quarantine protocols to be implemented in Metro Manila and Cebu City beginning June 16. As of today, Metro Manila has more than 13,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases, while Cebu City has reported more than 3,000. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, the country's chief executive will also decide on the IATF's recommendations on the appeals of local government units on the community quarantine levels in their areas of responsibility. The palace assures President Duterte will study thoroughly and balance his decision based on the rights of the public.
Sa mga opsyon ni Presidente, kinakailangan isipin nga niya yung obligasyon ng Estado, obligasyon ng kanyang administrasyon na pangalagaan ng kalusugan na kinakailangan ibalanse dun sa karapatan na magkaroon ng hanap buhay din naman ng mga tao.
Meanwhile, the Interagency Task Force versus COVID-19 met today. Our Malacanang correspondent Rosalie Cos will join us tonight to tell us why live. Rosalie, good evening. Why did the IATF meet today?
Good evening, Harleen. The Interagency Task Force Against COVID-19 met today to decide on the appeals submitted by local government units on their risk classifications for coronavirus disease. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, some local governments are appealing for stricter community quarantine restrictions. For example, from modified general community quarantine or MGCQ to general community quarantine or GCQ. Those provincial governments include Quezon, Abra and Apayao in Luzon, Caraga Region and Lanao del Sur in Mindanao. While Cebu City, which is now under GCQ just like Metro Manila, appeals to be back to modified enhanced community quarantine or MECQ. There are also local governments who appeal for less strict community quarantine. Harleen?
All right, Rosalie. Rosalie, may I ask, what are the reasons for such appeals from the local government units?
Harleen, Secretary Roque did not cite or did not mention the reasons behind the appeals, but we suppose that stricter measures is the appeals for stricter measures are for the economic recovery or the safety and security of the people, while the less strict protocols are for the economic recovery. Meanwhile, Harleen, according to the Department of Health, the rate of doubling cases in Metro Manila has slowed down to 7 days. On the other hand, the country's critical care capacity remains high. Here's what Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere said in today's Malacanang's briefing.
Katulad ng sabi ni Secretary Roque, bumagal na ang period or ang panahon para magdoble ang kaso dito sa National Capital Region, even for the whole Philippines kapag sinuma mo ng isang buo, ano? And the critical care utilization rate is just about 35%. So ibig sabihin, na-utilize lang ng mga resources natin ay 35% pa lang for critical care.
Meantime, the health department continues to remind the public to strictly follow the minimum health standards against COVID-19. Harleen, we don't have time yet as to we don't have any information as to what time the public address of the president will be, but we're quite sure that it will be aired tonight because the change in quarantine measures will take effect later at 12:01 in the morning. Harleen?
All right, thank you for that report, Rosalie Coz.
Department of Health Cordillera reports 7 new confirmed coronavirus infections in the region. 1 case is from Apayao, 2 from Benguet, while the 4 others are recorded in Kalinga. As of today, the Cordillera Administrative Region, or CAR, has 94 confirmed COVID-19 cases. In Apayao, the outpatient department of Far North Luzon General Hospital and Training Center has temporarily closed due to the new cases. Like what Rosalie Cos reported, Apayao is one of the provinces appealing to the IATF to be under general community quarantine. Meanwhile, the number of fatalities among our police frontliners due to COVID-19 has gone up to 7. Leia Ilagan details why.
2 more policemen have died due to COVID-19. Both were assigned in Cebu province. This brings the PNP's COVID-19 death toll to 7. PNP spokesperson, Police Brigadier General Bernard Banac says the PNP leadership reminds policemen across the country to strengthen their self-care to avoid contracting the deadly viral disease.
Na yung panganib ng COVID-19 ay nariyan pa rin sa ating kalagitnaan, maging ang mga police frontliners natin ay hindi rin exempted sa pagkakasakit. Kaya po patuloy po tayo mananawagan ng pag-iingat at pagsunod sa mga panuntunan ng general community quarantine.
According to General Banac, there are 414 COVID-19 positive cases within the police force as of today. 240 of those have recovered. Banac adds there are now only 17 policemen receiving treatment in their quarantine facilities, while others have gone home for recovery. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A number of establishments in Davao City are left with no other choice but to cease their operations in the middle of the coronavirus crisis. Based on data from the Labor Department, more than 10,000 employers in Davao region alone have sent notices of retrenchment and cessation. One of this is Marco Polo Hotel, a 22-year-old business and the only 5-star hotel in Davao City. With its closure comes the joblessness of nearly 300 workers. Marco Polo has given its employees their separation pay and retirement plans for qualified employees. This is sad news for Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry President John Carlo Tria. He says that it would take time for hotels to recover even if community quarantine gets lifted due to fears of many to travel and hold gatherings with hotels as their venues. A special advisor to the National Task Force on COVID-19 says that the Health Department must show real-time data reporting of COVID-19 cases in the country. Aiko Miguel explains why.
Dr. Ted Herbosa, former DOH Undersecretary and currently the Special Advisor to the National Task Force on COVID-19, suggests that the Department of Health must clearly report real-time or actual number of COVID-19 confirmed and death cases. Dr. Herbosa explains it is important that the Health Department informs the public accurately of the actual daily recorded cases to avoid any confusions.
What is important to the responders or operations is real-time data. So, sino talaga namatay, sino talaga yung new confirmed cases, at wag na sanang ihalo yung mga dati nang namatay, dati nang na-diagnose. So, pwede naman i-add yun in the previous days. So, I think that's where the confusion is.
Dr. Herbosa said this is also to avoid causing alarm among the public because experts are reporting that the COVID-19 fatality rate has gone down to 4.26% this mid-June compared to last April and May. But it has been noticeable there has been an increase in death cases on June 12 and 13. For Dr. Herbosa, the DOH should not have reported and mixed the validated previous cases with the daily case update and instead added the validated death cases to the actual date when they succumbed to COVID-19. To make the real-time data reporting possible, the DOH should also have a faster turnaround time in releasing results of COVID-19 cases. A 48-hour turnaround time is long enough to release test results, especially that there are already 59 licensed testing laboratories across the country.
I think the reason why we are having delayed data, the confirmed cases, is because the average turnaround time has been about 3 to 5 days, even 7 days in some test centers. Because of this delay, syempre, huli nalalaman na positive. May mga cases tayo na namatay na, and then 2 or 3 days later, lumalabas yung result. So, hindi masyadong maganda yon.
Faster turnaround time could also mean faster contact tracing and isolation of confirmed cases. For its part, the DOH explains there is validation process at the local government level up to national authorities. This is why some cases are just added to the DOH daily case update.
Itong pagtaas ng bilang ng mga nire-report natin ay maaring naging sanhi ng pag-aalala ng ating mga kababayan. Hayaan niyo po kaming humingi ng paumanhin kung kayo ay nabahala at binibigyang linaw namin ngayon ang mga numerong ito.
Based on the DOH report today, there are now only 220 test backlogs in licensed testing laboratories which need validation before they are added to the overall COVID-19 cases in the Philippines. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And let's now take a closer look at the updated count of coronavirus cases around the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has now reached a total of close to 8 million confirmed cases. To date, there's no addition to the 188 countries, regions, and sovereignties affected by the coronavirus pandemic. The fast-spreading disease has claimed more than 433,000 lives, while over 3.78 million patients have recovered across the globe from the new coronavirus infection. The United States of America remains to have the most recorded cases, now at more than 2,094,000. While Brazil's COVID-19 death toll climbed to over 43,000, now the world's second highest. On the other hand, India is now the world's fourth most affected nation with over 332,000 confirmed positives, including more than 9,000 deaths.
Meanwhile, the country's Department of Health says that 490 new cases were reported today, raising the total confirmed cases of coronavirus infection in the Philippines to 26,420. That is, as of 4 p.m. today. The numbers include 348 fresh cases and 142 late cases. We have lost 10 more patients, but through our fervent prayers, medical interventions, and sacrifices of our medical frontliners, 298 more people have won their battle against the invisible enemy. That brings the total recoveries nationwide to 6,252. Thanks be to God.
The Department of Justice received thousands of complaints against online sellers during the community quarantine period. In fact, the DTI reported 900 such complaints from January to March of this year. That number increased to over 8,000 cases from April to May 2020. Now the DTI has in its record more than 9,000 complaints today. In today's episode of Get It Straight with Daniel Razon, DTI Undersecretary Ruth Castelo explained that consumer protection against erring online sellers will improve, but that will happen if online entrepreneurs will register their businesses with the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Joanne Nano has more details to tell us why.
Under the existing process, the DTI has to coordinate with the Cybercrime Division of either the NBI or the PNP in order to trace the IP address of an online seller. This way, it will be easier for the DTI to trace online sellers if the government has a database.
Ang nagiging issue po, sir, for consumer protection, because they're virtual, wala po silang physical address, so web page lang or yung kanilang site sa internet, hindi po natin masyadong napoproteksyonan ang consumers dahil dito. Ang importante po, sir, kaya maihiram natin sa BIR at matitrace natin, makaka-build po tayo ng database at mabibuild natin yung ating registry ng lahat ng online sellers. Mas madali na po ang consumer protection na magagawa natin.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue, for its part, reiterates that small-time online sellers should not be afraid of registering their businesses. BIR Deputy Commissioner Arnel Gubalya explains that small-time or part-time online sellers will not be required to pay taxes. Instead, the BIR just needs to have a record of small-time online sellers, including their profits. But huge online selling platforms or those with a 250,000 peso annual net income will be the target of this tax collection scheme.
Ay ang gusto talaga naming later on na itatax ng gobyerno yung malalaki, yung Lazada, yung Shopee, yung kagaya ng Netflix, yung Google, Amazon. Yung mga kababayan po natin na nandyan lang sa bahay, hindi naman po yun ang tinatarget ng BIR na i-tax. Yun po ay sila lang, ay parte lang ng sistema na gusto namin makita yung data.
Under the National Internal Revenue Code, individuals with businesses as their source of income, whether physical or virtual, should register and declare their businesses with the BIR. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Dine-in services in restaurants across Metro Manila and other areas under general community quarantine reopened today. The Department of Trade and Industry went around Quezon City to check if the minimum health standards on dine-in services are followed, while customers say they favor such developments. Vincent Arboleda, who joined the inspection, will tell us why.
Yung mga ready na nag-operate na today, okay naman sila, fully compliant. Meron ngang mga medyo high-tech, merong hindi masyadong high-tech. Pero just the same, ang importante yung compliance nila.
This was the observation made by Trade Undersecretary Ruth Castelo during today's inspection in restaurants who resumed their dine-in services today in Quezon City. Among the protocols set by the DTI is the no mask, no entry policy. Before entering an establishment, customers must sanitize their footwear by stepping on a floor mat with disinfectant. They must also apply alcohol on their hands. Body temperature is checked before entry. If a customer's body temperature exceeds 37.5 degrees Celsius, or if the customer exhibits symptoms of coronavirus infection, they will not be allowed to enter the establishment. If the customer passes the temperature check, he is required to answer a health checklist. Afterwards, he can order and dine in. The distance between seats is at least 1 meter, alternating diagonally and best with dividers. With these minimum health standards in place, customers are pleased and in favor of the development.
Okay na okay to. Safe na safe ang feeling ko rito. Kasi walang droplet, wala kang katabi.
Okay lang po as long as na maganda naman po yung kalalabasan kasi pag once na hindi po natin sinunod yun, syempre po dadami po yung magiging cases ng COVID-19. So yun po. Susundin na lang po namin yung batas.
Yusek Castelo says the DTI monitoring efforts will be done on a daily basis. She also mentioned the guidelines apply not only in big establishments. Therefore, even food kiosks and neighborhood eateries must also abide by the minimum health standards. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
More than 100 locally stranded individuals will soon be together with their families in their provinces after being stranded in Metro Manila. Some of them are applicants for overseas jobs. Asher Cadapan Jr., who interviewed some of them, has more details why.
21-year-old Namraiga Nasir was thankful that she could finally go home to Davao City after being stranded in Metro Manila for 3 months due to community quarantine. She has been applying for overseas employment in the metropolis for 8 months but was caught stranded before flying abroad.
Oh my goodness! Tears of joy kasi sa tinagal-tagal po ng araw, nakatira pa po kami sa may tulay. So ngayon po, ito na po yung chance na makakauwi na rin po kami.
Namraiga is just one of the many locally stranded individuals or LSI who were taken to the designated temporary shelters near the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. But with the continuous efforts of the government agencies and the private sector, about half of the LSIs were being transported back to their provinces. The Philippine Coast Guard was able to assist about 150 LSI bound for Davao City and General Santos City through the BRP Gabriela Silang vessel. Airline companies have also provided available seats for some of the passengers. Meanwhile, the Department of Transportation advises other locally stranded individuals to contact their barangays to know how many of them need assistance to travel back to their provinces.
Mas maganda itong gawin dahil para makita natin kung paano natin i-manage ang pagpapauwi sa kanila. Huwag ho kayong mag-atubili na lumapit sa inyong mga barangay dahil ito po ang kanilang direktiba para makuha natin yung eksaktong bilang.
Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The officials of Barangay Bara in Lucena City are urging authorities to allow face-to-face classes for Bajau students and other students whose parents are not capable of tutoring them. More than 50 Bajau students in elementary and high school are expected to enroll this school year for modular learning. Almost all of them do not have a cell phone nor communication signal, so it would be difficult for teachers to send messages or call their students. If the Department of Education and the IATF do not approve this proposal, what barangay authorities will do is assign people to assist the students and their parents as aid to teachers. This is also to prevent the children of the Bajau community from losing interest in studying in this time of the coronavirus pandemic. Barangay leaders continue to conduct house-to-house visits to distribute enrollment forms. Currently, Barangay Bara still has 0 active cases of COVID-19.
With so many imposter accounts proliferating on social media, the security of our own social media accounts are at risk. Here are some tips on how to protect our Facebook accounts according to the National Privacy Commission. Monokson reports.
Many Facebook accounts nowadays have an imposter account. Not just 1 or 2, but many have 3 or more imposter accounts. This is the reason why the National Privacy Commission posted several tips on how to protect your social media accounts. To start, just click the menu button on your FB account. Navigate through the privacy shortcuts and click Review a few important privacy settings. With this setting, you can limit who can see your account profile and post. You can also limit who can send you friend requests. You can also manage your data by clicking the Managing Your Data option. It is also important to use a 2-factor authentication. With this, you will know if anyone wants to access or hack your account. And lastly, you can monitor and control applications where you use Facebook to log into. When you're done with these steps, you can be sure that your FB account is protected from imposter account. If you are bothered by so many fake accounts, you can file a report to the administrator. The first step is to go to the fake account. Click the Select Find Support or Report Profile option. Then click Pretending to be someone. Then click Me if the account is pretending to be you. Click a friend if you are reporting a friend imposter account. Then select Next and search for the profile of your friend. After this, click Report Profile. Click Done, and I believe this goes against Facebook community guidelines. And then click Report and Done. The National Privacy Commission is investigating the case, although until now they still don't know the reason of the proliferation of fake accounts. In this time when social media is helpful, it is best that we protect our social media accounts. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
William, we are on board the UNTV radio mobile booth and we are here in Commonwealth Avenue in Batasan Hills, Quezon City. Let's take a look at the situation on the road. William, so far here in our area, let's have a heads up to motorists bound to Fairview because we have a moderate to at times heavy traffic situation in this area of Commonwealth Avenue, though there is still unimpeded flow of traffic as of the moment. Meanwhile, we expect a same situation on the other side of the road for vehicles traversing the Commonwealth Avenue going to Elliptical Road to EDSA, Quezon Avenue. And for our weather update, the Intertropical Convergence Zone is now affecting Palawan, Visayas, and Mindanao. In its 4 p.m. daily weather update, State Weather Bureau Pag-asa says Palawan, Visayas, and Mindanao may experience cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms with possible flash floods or landslides due to scattered moderate to at times heavy rains. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and the rest of Luzon may expect to experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers with possible flash floods or landslides due to localized thunderstorms. There is no tropical cyclone affecting the country as of today.
A Philippine court finds Rappler CEO Maria Ressa and a former researcher writer of the online news website guilty of cyber libel. Ressa's camp is now preparing for its next move. Ray Pelayo explains to us the details why.
Imprisonment of 6 months and 1 day to 6 years is the verdict of the Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 46 against Rappler CEO Maria Ressa and former researcher-writer Reynaldo Santos Jr. This is for the cyber libel case filed by the private individual Wilfredo Keng. The case stemmed from an article written by Santos and published online on May 29, 2012, or almost 4 months before the enactment of the cybercrime law on September 12, 2012. But a correction on the article was made on February 19, 2014, changing letter T to S in the word evasion.
It does not matter kung correction kasi nga sabi ng jurisprudence, kahit hindi nagbago, kahit wala kang binago, it still constitutes republication. It's a new publication. Kahit wala kang binago, it constitutes a new publication dahil in-update mo eh.
The published article was about former Chief Justice Renato Corona, who was allegedly using vehicles of businessmen, including that of Keng's. Keng's lawyer argued that part of the article accused their client of illegal doings. They insist that filing a case is the only way to clear Keng's name.
The allegation was that the private complainant in this case was involved in illegal drugs, in human trafficking, and also murder. These are heinous crimes that were maliciously imputed to them.
So dapat, maging maingat tayo sa pag-post, sa pag-aakusa, lalo na kapag ma-apektuhan ng isang pribadong individual.
Ressa and Santos are still in liberty through bail since the case was filed. Ressa and Santos argue they are just doing their job as journalists.
This is a blow. It's a blow to us, but it's also not unexpected considering that we are going to stand up against any kind of attacks against press freedom.
It's very sad, and for someone who's doing his job to be here, I think it could be not just me, but other people who are doing his or her job properly could be in the same situation that I am in right now.
According to Attorney Theodore Te, Ressa's camp has 15 days to study the decision before their next move. They may file a motion for reconsideration or appeal to higher courts. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The guilty verdict of cyber libel against Maria Ressa and researcher-writer Ray Santos Jr. kills the freedom of speech and of the press. That's according to NUJP, or the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines. NUJP describes the conviction as a dark day for independent media and for all the Filipinos. But the group says this is not a reason for journalists to be cowed. Rappler, on the other hand, says the court's decision is failure of justice. Meanwhile, Malacanang says that President Rodrigo Duterte believes in the freedom of the press and expression in the country. The palace says it respects the court's decision on Rappler's CEO. But according to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, the Duterte administration's critics might use the issue against the president.
Sa mga darating na araw po, asahan po natin na mga kalaban ng gobyerno ay gagamitin ang conviction ni Maria Ressa for libel para sabihin na kalaban daw po ng kalayaan ng malayang pananalita at pamamahayag ang presidente.
Some residents in Barangay Del Monte, Quezon City worry about losing their houses. Dante Amento tells us why.
The Quezon City government plans to impose a 5-meter reclamation along the riverbanks in Barangay Del Monte. This move was prompted by the collapse of a 3-story building last Friday. According to the Quezon City Building Department, the area is dangerous for the residents, especially when an earthquake or heavy rains occurs.
Matagal na pong napagsabihan ang mga tao dyan na binigyan sila ng advisory na to self-demolish. Kasi nga po talagang prone sa erosion yung area na yan. At we reiterated such order.
Erlinda Soriano has been residing here for 16 years. Almost her entire house will be affected by the proposed 5-meter reclamation. She and her fellow residents say they are willing to move if there is a definite relocation site for them.
Alis kami, basta may relocation kami. Wala naman kaming pupuntahan kung hindi yung ibibigay ng gobyerno sa amin.
Wala po tayo magagawa. Gusto ng City Hall eh. Nagiba na nga yun eh. Laging bahay.
Residents appeal to the city government for housing if the reclamation proceeds. The Quezon City LGU, for its part, says the national government has a plan for their relocation. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, here's Elsie Marcos live from Auckland, New Zealand. Good evening, Elsie.
Good evening, William, and to Harleen. How are you?
Yes, Elsie, I'm fine. Hope you are too. And what have you got for us this evening?
Well, some good news from here. It's been 24 days since there were no new confirmed cases of COVID-19 in New Zealand. On the other hand, I will tell you why Beijing is once again on alert, while France is ready to open up to non-European visitors.
Okay, go ahead, Elsie. Please tell us why.
Today is the Ministry of Health's Elimination Day. 24 days of no new cases since the last community transmission case came out of isolation. The Ministry of Health said at 1 p.m. NZ time, there had been no new cases of the virus, with the total number of confirmed cases remaining at 1,154. The combined total of confirmed and probable cases remains at 1,504. The number of recovered cases is more than 1,400. No one in the country is receiving hospital level care for COVID-19, the ministry says. The Marist College cluster in Auckland has now closed, meaning only 5 significant clusters remain open. A cluster is only considered closed after there has been no new cases for 28 days from the date of when all cases have completed isolation. Meanwhile, there had been an increase of 3,000 people signing up for the NZ COVID Tracer app since this time yesterday, bringing the total to 557,000 registrations. Chinese authorities are now selectively locking down at-risk areas due to a new spike in coronavirus cases, which appear to have originated in a wholesale food market in Beijing. Since April, there had been almost no new cases of coronavirus reported in the Chinese capital, but on Friday, one new case was reported, a number that rose dramatically over the weekend. China reported on Sunday that the country had 57 new confirmed infections as of midnight on Saturday, the highest number of infections it has reported in 2 months. Contact tracing efforts suggest that the cases originated from Xinfandi, which is known to be one of the largest food markets in Asia. How the coronavirus came to Xinfandi is unclear. However, government officials have begun to point fingers at travelers for the new infections. The capital quickly took measures to alert the public and control virus spread with what officials have described as a wartime approach. Elsewhere, Egypt will reopen all its airports on July 1st, the civil aviation minister said Sunday. This after suspending regular international flights in March due to the coronavirus outbreak. According to Mohammed Manar Anba, foreign tourism would be limited to resorts in 3 coastal provinces after the government said Thursday last week it would reopen Egypt's main seaside resorts for international flights and foreign tourists from July 1st. The Egyptian government has laid out measures to be taken inside planes, at airports, and in hotels to help ensure the safety and health of foreign tourists. The minister further said travelers from countries with high rates of coronavirus infections based on World Health Organization's assessments need to be tested before coming to Egypt. The pandemic has shattered Egypt's tourist industry, which the government says accounts for 5% of economic output. Egypt, a nation of about 100 million people, has registered more than 44,000 cases of the virus and over 1,500 deaths. The number is lower than many European countries, but cases have climbed in the past 3 weeks. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, the upward spiral of new virus infections neared 145,000 today. This comes amid warnings from political leaders that the numbers could double by the end of June. The number is likely to hit 1.2 million by the end of July if Pakistan's 220 million people continue to disregard basic precautions like wearing a face covering. Pakistan's Planning and Development Minister Asad Umar, who also heads the government's COVID-19 Command Center, warns that the virus will rampage through the South Asian country unless there is a change in attitude towards the virus. The government notes that most citizens in Pakistan refuse to social distance and wear masks in public. Still, he defended Pakistan's easing on lockdown restrictions, saying the country's economy would collapse under the burden of a total shutdown. But Pakistan's doctors have pleaded for stricter lockdowns, pointing out that the struggling healthcare system is already straining, what with escalating numbers of infections. As of today, Pakistan has reached close to 3,000 deaths since March. Meanwhile, France opens its borders today with other European countries for the first time since closing them amid virus fears 3 months ago. And on July 1st, President Emmanuel Macron's government will start opening up the country to visitors from other continents. The French government has urged fellow EU members to coordinate their border rules while sticking to calendar recommendations from the European Commission. The French government said in a statement it's opening its borders to all arrivals from the EU and countries in the border-free Schengen zone today comes given the favorable evolution of the health situation in France and in Europe. There's no need to undergo quarantine for people arriving from inside Europe. But as for visitors from Spain and Britain, France will apply different rules because those countries have established different reopening schedules. The French government promised to ease entry for foreign students in particular ahead of a new academic year. It's not clear until now how many Europeans are ready to travel again. And those are the reasons behind the news here in New Zealand and in other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you, Elsie Marcos. You stay safe there in New Zealand.
European Football Associations, or UEFA, is set to decide on Wednesday on how to conclude this season's Champions League and Europa League competitions. The matches have been put on hold since March because of the coronavirus pandemic. The agenda on Wednesday's video conference would include round of 16 onwards, plus related decisions for both Champions League and Europa League competitions. UEFA's options could include playing the remaining stages of each competition in a single venue, as well as reducing the quarter-final and semi-final competitions to one leg instead of two. The second legs of 4 Champions League last 16 ties still need to be played, while Atletico Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Atalanta, and RB Leipzig have already booked their places in the last 8. And Hong Kong Disneyland will reopen June 18. This comes as the city looks to gradually restart its economy amid gradually diminishing coronavirus infections. Hong Kong Disneyland has been closed since January due to the coronavirus pandemic. Now it is ready to reopen with limited visitor capacity. It will also introduce social distancing measures in restaurants, rides, and other facilities. Visitors may take note that activities in the theme park that require close interaction, such as photo sessions with Disney characters, remain prohibited, according to a press release today. Wearing of masks, filling out a health declaration form, temperature check upon arrival are a must for all theme park goers. It is the second Disney-branded theme park to reopen globally after Shanghai Disneyland, which reopened its doors last month. And those are the reasons behind the news, June 15, 2020. I am Harleen Delgado. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And I am William Theo. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Have a great evening and stay safe, everyone.